Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stamp with Anna. And today I'm going to show you this fun fold card. It's an accordion accordion fold card, but it has this cute little pop-up in it. So I guess I'm going to call it a pop-up accordion card. And it really is super simple to make. We made these at one of my recent card classes, and it was a whole card class on different types of accordion folds, and each one of the cards looks so daunting, but once you just make a couple score lines, you're good to go. So let's get started on this one here. And what we're going to need is a scoreboard, and I'm going to use my paper trimmer because the paper trimmer has a scoring blade as well as a cutting blade. So we're going to start out with a piece of Pure Pizzazz that is cut 5.5 by 11, and we're going to make our scores on this. Holding it with the 11-inch side along the top, we're going to score at 1 3/4, 3 1/2, 5 1/4, and then I'm going to open up my arm here and scooch this over to 7, and we'll score there as well. Okay, and while I have my scoreboard out, I also have another piece of Pure Pizzazz, and this is 6 by 3, and I'm going to score that at 3. So I'm just going to make a 3 by 3 little note card. Whenever you're making a fun fold card, you do want to burnish your folds because you do want it to be nice and crisp. So with my bone folder, I'm just going to run over that fold and put that aside. And now I have my long piece. And to my right, I have the large size, the largest square. And I'm just going to take this back and go back and forth accordion style. So off to the left, the right, back to the left, off to the right, and back to the left. And now I'm going to take my bone folder and really make those creases nice so it does stay a little nicer. Okay? And that is the card, basically, that we just need to embellish. So I'm going to open it all the way up, and I'm going to attach all of my pieces. And for this piece here, I'm going to put a piece of basic white, and this white is 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. I have 4 strips of designer series paper, and these come from the Your Peach designer series set. And these are all cut at 1.5 by 5 1/4. Now, when I did them, I decided to use opposite sides of the paper. If you used all the same piece of paper, you could certainly do all 4 of them to be the same. I chose to use up my scraps, and therefore I came up with this pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate. I'm going to do the peaches, the stripe, the peaches, and the stripe. Okay, so let's get that done. And so this goes on this side. And these go on the panels. And you want to try to line them up along the top and the bottom so that they're all even. This one needs to come up just a tad. Okay, and now I'm going to do the opposite side of my paper. So I'm going to do the peaches, the small peaches. I could even do this one. That'd look pretty too, wouldn't it? But I'm going to keep the peaches. And again, you want to keep that in line with the previous one. And so I'm going to do the stripe. the peach once more. And believe it or not, my card is just about done. And here it goes. Okay, so now what I have to do is make this pop-up mechanism part. And for that, we're going to bring back in our paper, Pure Pizzazz, which was 6 by 3, scored at 3. And then I have 2 pieces of Whisper White. I'm going to put those aside first because I want to do my stamping before I attach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it so that the closed end is to the right. So I'm folding it backwards. And then I'm going to slip it in between. I'm going to make a sandwich of these accordion folds. See, so I'm going to put this on my mat and bring all of these over. I'm just positioning it and I'm going to bring it down. Now I want to position it so that it's centered, top to bottom, and right and left. So now that I have my placement right, I'm going to open this up and I'm going to keep my hand on this one, and I'm going to put some adhesive just along the very edge of this. I did 2 strips of adhesive, and I'm going to fold that. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. 2 strips. And now when I fold this over, just those 2 strips of adhesive are on my project. So now there it is, and that's how it opens up. Okay? Now I have my 2 pieces of basic white, and these are cut 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and I'm going to do some stamping on that. And for my stamp set, I'm using the Sweet as a Peach, and I'm also using the coordinating peach dies. So the Sweet as a Peach, I'm going to use this Happy Birthday and this Have a Peachy Day. Now these are photopolymer stamp sets, so I'm going to bring in my pierce mat so that I get a nice, even image. And I'm going to stamp with Pure Pizzazz. Now, on one of these where it says Happy Birthday, I'm going to stamp pretty much down the bottom because I'm going to make that little die cut of a peach along the top. Okay, so I'm going to straighten that up, and I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday. And then on the inside, I'm going to use the stamp that says Have a Peachy Day. So I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to drop this one right in the center. I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you could put your sentiments. Okay. Now, that one came out just a tiny bit crooked. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to try again because this paper is so thick that you can stamp on the back of it and it's not going to show. I'll make sure I have my stamp mounted straight. That might be my problem. Okay. And now I'm going to come in the middle and drop it down. And no one is the wiser. No one will ever know that I made a mistake on the other side. So now I can take this piece and attach it to my green because I'm not going to do anything else to this. And I'm going to drop this right in the center here. Okay. Now I'm going to close it and I'm going to attach this one. And that's going to go right in the corner there. Now I'm going to make my peach. I'm going to use the coordinating peach die. This is such an adorable set. And I'm going to take out the little peach shape and look at all the dies that are in here. This is just awesome. And I'm going to take out the little double leaves. And you can see that these coordinate beautifully with the stamp set. Let me just bring that stamp set in. You have a die to cut this out, this peach out, these leaves, die to cut out these cute little flowers, your die to cut these out, some of the greenery, and as well as the larger flowers. Then you have some extra dies. This one will cut out a branch, and this one will cut out a nice label. So there is so much you can do with this stamp set, this bundle. All right. So on a scrap piece of pale papaya and a scrap piece of Pure Pizzazz, I'm going to do my die cutting. I have my little mini machine here. I want to make sure that it's in view there. So I have my 1 plate and my 2 plate. And then I just need a tiny piece of Pure Pizzazz, so I'm just going to give that a little tear. I'm going to put my peach on the pale papaya piece. Ooh, the peach on the pale papaya piece. And then on my little scrap of Pure Pizzazz, I'm going to drop my 2 dies, my 2 leaves, the die of my 2 leaves. And I'm going to run this through. Now, I could have stamped my peach and then die cut it out with the coordinating die, but I want to show you what I did to make that peach look so more realistic. I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper, and there's my peach. Then I have a quartered sponge and some Calypso coral. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up my Calypso coral, and I'm just going to ink up my peach. Now, because the peach, the die of the peach has a tiny little rim around it, the edge of this peach is automatically kind of highlighted. And right there, it doesn't look like it's highlighted enough, so I can come back and do that. Now, because I did that, my peach looks like it actually has peach fuzz on it. And I think that that is just adds such a special touch. Now I'm going to take my green leaves, and with a tiny amount of liquid glue, I'm going to just make a little dot right there. You could certainly use tape, adhesive if you want, but I wanted to use this so that I have a little bit of freedom to move my leaves around exactly where I want them. Okay, and there they are. Now, once this is dry, I'm going to come in with the chalk marker, and I'm just going to give my peach a little bit of an accent. So I'm going to make a little half moon there and one right here. And that looks like the same indentation on a peach as you would buy in a supermarket. So now I want to give that a little bit of lift. So I'm going to bring in some dimensional on the back of my peach, and I'm just going to put one on either end. And to ensure that this is going to stay and not fall off, I'm just going to bring in a mini dimensional and just put that right there. So it's half on the stem and half on my peach, and that's going to act as a little bit more of adhesive. I'm going to just keep that there nice and secure. I'm going to take my backings off, and then I'm going to bring this in and put it right on the top. And that's it. There's my card. Now, there are a couple things that I do want to mention. Because this card was made from an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, in order to get each one of these to be the same size, this one here is 1/4 of an inch shorter than the typical A2 size. So instead of this card, when it's folded, being 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, it's only 4 by 5 1/2. And that's fine with me, because here I'm going to take a regular A2 card, this is the difference, and to me that's fine. You could certainly cut this at from a 12 by 12 piece of paper. You could certainly cut this from an 11 1/4. The all the cutting dimensions would be the same, and then this last piece would have an extra 1/4 inch. But I had 8.5 by 11, and I thought that that was fine. This does not bother me at all. And also, there are a couple other ways that you could decorate this. Instead of having your stamp have a peachy day there, you could put it right here in the middle, just making sure that you don't go past this square part. And you could sign it there or write a note there, but I'm just going to sign right here. And I did it that way because this I thought would look nicer with something on it rather than having that empty. So there we go. Now I must say I did get the inspiration for this card from Dawn Griffith, I think her name is. She's Dawn's Stamping Thoughts. She's a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So I did see this on one of her YouTube videos, and I thought, oh my goodness, that is just so easy to do. So I did get my inspiration from her. If you have any questions at all about this project or any of the products I use, please contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you liked this video, I'd really appreciate giving it a thumbs up. And while you're here, please consider subscribing to my YouTube so that you will be able to see all of my new videos as they go up. Thanks so much, and I hope you have a great day.